Hey, how's it going? It's March now. Uh, I will be probably shortly, tomorrow, in fact, on March 3rd, be heading over to my parents to help them out again. They got a new truck and they want me to take a look at it because they know that I need certain requirements in order to operate the equipment. Uh, Not to mention, I'll probably be the primary guy driving it. So they want me to look at it, see if they should return it or not. The old truck finally just, uh, uh, she 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 was worked to death. The frame finally bent, and I guess my dad was trying to pull one of the smaller tractors with his trailer, and the fifth wheel hitch stayed on the frame, but the whole everything from the cab to the motor just ripped itself apart, drive chain and everything. So it's done. So so they ordered a new one, but they want to take a look at the order forms with me to make sure that everything is kosher. That way, make sure they're not A, wasting their money, and B, that it's what we actually need. Which leads me to a thought that I had, which is living within one's means. You know, I'm pretty sure most people have heard this before, and if they haven't, they really should, especially the younger people, whoever's listening to this. And I'm not trying to lecture you, tell you how to live your life, but at the end of the day, I'm giving you some advice. And if you want to take advice from an old fat ass like myself, that's wholly up to you. But it's also a question that I've had because I've heard this a lot, even guys my age. You know, they're worried about their retirement. They're worried that they don't have enough what they need to make sure that when they end work, some guys are even concerned, legitimately concerned, that they'll basically have to live. They'll have to work for pretty much the entirety of their lives. And I have actually seen this happen. So this isn't something that's something that's only relatable to certain industries or certain things. It's just the way some people can be because of their own financial mismanagement or the times. You know, some guys have had to come out of retirement and rejoin the workforce because that CPP just isn't doing it for them. And I can relate to that myself, where without work, I would basically be on a pension through Veterans Affairs, and that's it. And it's a little better than unemployment, but not much better. And it led me to wonder. A lot of people like the nicer things in life. I, for one, do, as I'm pretty sure most of us do. My pretension is to Scotch whiskey, a single malt, preferably from the Highlands. And if it ain't old enough to date, it's not old enough to drink, which often means that the bottles I pick up are a bit on the pricier side. So I don't pick them up very often, obviously, because if I can't afford it, I'm not gonna do it. But it makes me wonder why so many people they extend their financial situation, young and old alike, to the point where they're biting their nails. They're waiting for that one horse to come in, or you know what I mean. For some strange reason, they can't seem to get their stuff together. And I'll admit, I've had some close calls in this myself, so I'm just as guilty of this as everybody else is. This isn't me, sitting on high and mighty on the Priory Hill here. And I just can't help but wonder why money has become so important. At the end of the day, it's worth very little to nothing. I mean, Canadian money in particular, it's funny money. It's not made out of cloth or bark anymore. It's made out of a plastic, a polyester, and almost everyone nowadays goes digital, including myself. although I do like to carry around cash on me, which confuses a lot of people when I do use it. And yeah, it's something I never really understood. You know, how we manage to overstretch ourselves due to our own short-sightedness or lack or temptation getting the better of me. You know, I really wanted that one thing that I probably shouldn't have got. You know, we've all been there, including myself. You know, and just I'll make it work. You know, and sometimes it works, and sometimes it bites you in the ass. But then there are people who end up homeless as a result, who end up like they have to choose between their light bill and eating. Now, I'll admit, poverty is not an easy thing to answer, and I also know that there are probably more than a fair share of homeless people that don't need to be homeless. That if they could figure themselves out, and however it is they can figure themselves out, I don't know. Like I said, I don't know the answer to it. But from the way I understand it, if it's an economic thing and not their own way they do things, then I can't help but wonder, how did it get to that point? Where was the precipice? I mean, was it just a terrible divorce and she took you for everything you had? In which case, well, I got sympathy for you, brother. I mean, that's terrible. Or was it a case of a bad investment that turned out to be, you got screwed over by a lawyer, or 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 the invention that you put so much love and time, energy, and money into, that you're willing to basically put everything on the line for, just turned out to be either useless or not as good as you wanted it to be, and the investors just backed out. They're like, no, sorry, we ain't touching that. Or was it a matter of just not properly budgeting? Like I said, this is a mistake we've all made. I know I made it on more than one occasion. I mean, I got a thing for chessboards. I love them. I collect them. I'm like a hoarder for chess, even though I'm a average player at best. Although I'll hook you up on a game. I don't mind losing if it means I can pull out the chessboard. and I can't help but wonder, if that's gotten the better of me more than more than once, and it probably has. Yeah, I'm not all that tech savvy, but when it comes to money, I'm not exactly what you call primary consideration either. Now, I ain't Scrooge McDuck. I don't have a money bin somewhere, although I wish I did. That would be awesome. As I'm pretty sure most people would think so. And but yeah, no, it just makes me wonder sometimes about fiscal responsibility. And this relates not just to people but to nations. And we see this all the time. Where you have the micro, you always have the macro. Where you have the average poor blow Joe who shortchanged himself and has to, borrow $50 from a buddy, all the way to nations that have trillions of dollars in debt, and no one ever seems to tap them on the shoulder and go, "Hey, you do know that the payment's due, right?" I mean, maybe there's some stuff there that I don't understand, but where are the creditors for them? I would love to see that. I mean, you have a nation with a capacity of defending itself through military means, having to answer to some loan shark or Met Credit or whatever, and they're saying, well, can't you pay us a little bit of something? I mean. And it's and most of this debt isn't just between other nations, but between companies. Well, if I'm behind on my TELUS bill here in Alberta, they're gonna cut me off. They are reasonable, but at the end of the day, if I just can't get to it in time, they're gonna cut me off. If I don't pay the power bill, they're gonna turn my lights off. How does a nation get away with this stuff? How does a nation sit there with hundreds of billions of dollars in debt, barely able to make the interest payments, and can sit there and just keep adding it up and adding it up? I don't get it. I don't get it. And speaking of the finer points in life, another thing I was wondering about was there's a lot of people who show but don't tell, or they show but don't use. I've never really, I mean, collectors are notorious for this. And for some stuff I can understand. You know, art is art. You know, statues, paintings. I'm not going to sit there and take this painting here that was done by a local artist here and go on and on and on, right? I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to go out and showcase it all over the place. But, you know, when it comes to dishes and stuff like that, I have no problem using the older stuff. I mean, got some nice, I think this is China. I could be wrong. Yeah, Delphine, or whoops, Delphine, China there. Makes a pretty good teacup. That's what I use it for. I drink my Earl Grey tea with this. Hot, of course, and black. No, nothing mixed in it. Kind of like Jean-Luc Picard. And, you know, I got some older glasses and stuff like that. I think my coolest one, or the one I'm most proud of, I got this from my uncle because he actually served in the regiment before it was listed as reserves. Was this lovely little number here, and I drink my scotch out of this. And I don't know if anyone will ever call my bluff on scotch, but yeah. Yeah, Glen Morey, 18 years. Like I said, it's not old enough to date. It's not old enough to drink. Yeah, it's one of my favorite brands, but it isn't my most it isn't the one I like the most. The one I like the most, I can't afford most of the time. And that's Highland Park 30 year. It's very nice, and they don't come out with it very often. But yeah, no, it just floors me that, you know, people could have stuff sitting on stands and in showcases, and yet they never do anything with it. And that was always my biggest pet peeve with tabletop stuff. Like when I used to do Dungeons and Dragons, I used to be the game manager, the dungeon master for that. And if I ever manage to find a group, I don't mind getting into it again. It's just very few people are doing it nowadays, and I don't have all the new books either. I mean, my stuff ends at third edition, and it's the same with my other tabletop hobbies like Warhammer 40K and Warhammer Fantasy. I'm so behind the times on that; it's not even funny. I don't know which edition it is for 40K, but it's the one where the Black Templars are on the general rulebook. For those of you who might be in the know, and Warhammer Fantasy, I think it's 4th edition, but I'm not sure. And like I said, I collected these things because I thought they were cool, and I liked to play with them. I used to make tables that I could have tournaments on, that I could play on them with friends and other people. And over my years, and I had an over 12, 13 year hiatus through my enlistment, and as a result, it changed things. You know, it wasn't a high priority, and I never did get updated. So before anyone starts, you know, nuking me in the comments, just remember, you know, I'm a little out of the game. I just started getting into another tabletop thing that I notice people put on display, but they don't play with around here, is BattleTech, and I had no idea how old it is. In fact, I'm just a beginner. I've only been into that realm for about 2 years now, and I don't have anywhere near the lore knowledge and all that good stuff. I'm just starting to figure it out in terms of the rule sets and stuff like that. But I noticed that the hex-based system that it uses is easily transferable to the gaming tables I already have. So the fact that it's relatable is good. But anyway, just one more thing I wanted to poke around about. This is Floyd, signing off. Have a good one.